Have you ever made a mistake? Because I bet you have. I mean, I have too. We make them really all the time. I mean, but what are we going to do about it? I mean, are we going to just stop making mistakes? I mean, probably not. I mean, in the long run, we're going to continue to make them. But how should we respond? How do we respond to a mistake? Or maybe how do we respond to a mistake that someone else has made? I mean, sometimes we call that forgiveness. In the Bible, there's this story about this guy named Peter. One of these guys, he was always kind of screwing up. He was always making a mistake. I relate to him really well because I feel the same way a lot of times. But in the book of Mark, in chapter 14, it says in verse 72, immediately a rooster crowed a second time. And Peter remembered when Jesus had spoken the word to him. And what Jesus had said was, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me three times. And when he thought about that, he began to weep. That's what that says. What is that telling us? It's telling us that even a guy who was super close to even Jesus himself um, messed up and made some serious mistakes. I mean, how do you react when you make a mistake? I mean, or maybe Peter here, he was probably ashamed, embarrassed. It felt really, just really bad in the moment, probably. And you've probably been there too when you make a mistake of any kind. You just kind of have that guilt, right? I mean, do you get down on yourself? Do you get angry? Do you get frustrated? Sometimes if I'm on the golf course and I make a mistake, sometimes I throw a club. I'm just going to tell you right now, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. Sometimes I throw things, okay? If I make a mistake on the golf course, you know what I'm talking about because if you've been there, you've done it. You throw the club. And then you regret it, especially if it hits somebody, or something like that, or if you break it. Um, but I mean, I react wrongly sometimes, especially on the golf course, or maybe you've reacted in practice or in a game or in some life situations when you've made a mistake and you kind of got angry instead of getting better. Sometimes I'll hit a bad shot or make a mistake and I'll follow that mistake with another bad decision on the next shot. You know, I'll follow that one bad decision with another bad decision and another bad decision. And with experience, I have learned that unless I change the way I react to those mistakes and to those moments, nothing will change. But the same is true when somebody offends you or makes a mistake. It's a part of your team or a part of your circle of people. When they make a mistake, are you going to let them beat themselves up? Or are you going to offer forgiveness? How do we react in those moments when we make mistakes, but also when others do as well? Do we forgive ourselves? Do we forgive others? There's a lot of examples all throughout the Bible about people making mistakes. That's one of the things that I love about the Bible. Some went on to great things and being great warriors for God, and others followed a path of self-destruction. To be honest with you, Peter is one of the great examples of one of the ones who saw his mistake, made some changes, and came back in some major big ways. On three occasions, Peter denied even knowing Jesus, even though he was one of the closest people on the planet to Jesus. His mistakes were a big deal, and they could have allowed Peter to just sink into a deep depression and never come out, but that's not where he stayed. The Bible talks about how he felt like this was a really bad moment, and he had a lot of guilt, and it could have destroyed him, but he confessed his mistakes. He looked for forgiveness. He was restored and became a leader of the early church. As a matter of fact, you read in the first few chapters of the book of Acts, and Peter was a big deal. He came back from complete just stupidity and became one of the greatest leaders that the Christian church has ever known. The good news is that God is still in the restoration business. He can help us, He can help you, you can help yourself, you can help each other with restoration, with forgiveness. When mistakes happen, mistakes happen. The good news is there's forgiveness that can be found in those moments. See, God knows that we're going to make mistakes, but He's more interested in our response to those mistakes than the mistakes themselves. If we respond with anger or selfishness or self pity, chances are we're going to continue to make mistakes. But if we seek forgiveness and learn from it, there's a good chance that we're going to understand that God forgives us and He's going to restore us. And if we make those kind of same admissions with our friends on our team or our coaches or our family or whoever, we're going to see progress instead of getting stuck. How do you react when you make a mistake? What are some of the things that you can do to change how you react? And how do you respond when others make a mistake? Is forgiveness a part of the equation for you? Why or why not? I hope this creates a great conversation for you to just consider. We make mistakes. But what do we do next? Think about it.